I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're delighted to introduce you to a terrific author. His name is Frank Veszely, and he brings us two distinct literary works. The first is called The Age of the Individual and My Life and Times in It, C'est la vie. The other book, Hungarian Poetry, Folk, Classical, and Modern in English, 1,000 Years. His memoir explores personal and historical narratives, while his poetry collection connects readers to Hungary's rich poetic tradition. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the
I'm
team
happy
at
to be
Atticus
here.
Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel, by purchasing his wonderful books. The links are below this interview. Frank, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Happy to be here.
These are quite different works you have written, so we'll take them one at a time. Tell me a little bit about The Age of the Individual and My Life and Times in It, C'est la vie. What inspired you to write your own story?
Well, first and foremost, it's a human story in a sometimes less than humane world that we are living in. And it is featuring all my writings as I lived in this age of the individual and my reaction to what was happening to me. It includes my catharsis, my having to deal with issues and having to learn to live in a new country because I'm a Hungarian immigrant. So it contains all that. In terms of genre, it has a wide range of representation, anything and everything from letters to poetry, through essays, through short stories, even a one-act play. So it's kind of like a huge smorgasbord laid out for you. As a reader, you don't have to eat the whole table. You can pick and choose what you care or you're interested in. So that's that. The other book is my translations from Hungarian greats, folk poetry, moderns. It's a work that I did over a span of at least 30, if not 40 years. And it encompasses what seems to be a mission impossible at first glance, to represent Hungarian poetry in its form. In other words, keeping the same rhythm patterns, keeping the same rhyme patterns, keeping the same meaning, and most of all, keeping the same spirit of the poets. So,
Amazing.
so that's
amazing.
what that is.
Tell me a little bit about your life. When did you emigrate to the United States and why?
I immigrated to Canada. I still live in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But I came in after the Hungarian Revolution in 1957. I was involved in the revolution, and the communists were after me. So it's either go to the Gulag or escape to Canada, which was open to me at the time.
Amazing, amazing.
So,
And what sparked your interest in the Hungarian poetry? Has this always been a big part of your life? Tell us a little bit about that.
I have since early childhood, almost. Certainly since my teenage years, I was preparing myself to be my nation's next great poet, so to speak. And so I actually had a good friend. He totally was a genius. And we practiced writing poetry in all the different forms. There was Petrarchan sonnets one day and Shakespearean the other. So we always addressed a specific form, and we practiced it and we practiced it and we practiced it until we were fluent in it. So when I came to Canada, I came with that skill of being able to write poetry in any form and whatever form.
Wonderful.
And when when I arrived, I wrote poetry in Hungarian because I didn't speak a word of English at the time. So I wrote poetry for a couple of years, and then I stopped writing Hungarian poetry, and basically I just immersed myself totally in English. I all but I had one Hungarian friend, and I immersed in Canadian culture, English as my language, and over a number of years I became a Canadian. I feel when I speak English, I feel Canadian. When I speak Hungarian, I feel Hungarian.
I'm sure. The language means a lot. It's part of our culture.
I'm easily bilingual.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. It's good that you feel so adjusted to Canada, but you've been there since 1957. You've been there longer than you were in Hungary, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you revisited Hungary? Have you gone back since you left?
Yes, I have. I was back, actually not into Hungary, but into then Yugoslavia in 1982. And then again into Hungary this time in 84 and 86.
Gotcha.
And since then, I went back to Hungary a couple of more times. Last time I was back was in 2004, where I published two books in Hungarian. One is my lifetime work of poetry, and the other one was entitled Hungarian Canadian Literature, Critical Assessments. So I essentially studied all my Hungarian Canadian compatriots that were writing in Hungarian, and I wrote a book about them.
Amazing, amazing. Now, is this part of your work, part of your life's journey as a writer?
Yes, this was what constitutes my writing career.
Yeah.
In civil life, I became a school teacher, and I had a career in Kamloops, where I still am. In the public school system, I was an elementary school teacher.
Yeah. Well, you were an educator. You still are an educator because you have put out these books, and they are quite informative. What do you hope people take away from your memoir, your personal story?
Encouragement, personal encouragement. Hopefully, it's thought-provoking. Hopefully, it's makes them feel that they're not alone. There's a lot of, and not just immigrants, but virtually anybody, really. If you care about democracy, or you care about any of the values that we are hoping to demonstrate, then you'll care about the book.
Yeah. Now, you've translated a millennium's worth of Hungarian poetry into English.
Yes.
Is that to help inform people in this country that so the works aren't lost, and all North American English-speaking countries, I guess?
It would. In fact, I just sent away an email to my friends from a poet who, at 23 years of age in Hungary, wrote about the state of the affairs in his world, and you'd recognize it as our world. He wrote it in 1796. And it's utterly astounding how relevant it is.
Amazing. Amazing. And what are the parts of it that are relevant to today's society 200-300 years later?
The humanity of the poets. What they taught me was that humanity is always relevant. Sincere humanity, their sincere feelings, their sincere thoughts and reactions, their lies, or if they lied, or their pretenses, if they were pretending, they didn't last past the words that were uttered. But their sentiments, their honest thoughts, If they spoke the truth, it resonates today as it resonated then.
Wonderful. The truth is universal. As you say, if it does
Yeah, it
resonate,
is. It is. And
yeah,
they're classics because they're relevant always. That's why
exactly.
they're classics.
Exactly. Frank Veszely has written two distinct and wonderful literary works. One is called The Age of the Individual and My Life and Times in It, C'est la vie, and Hungarian Poetry, Folk, Classical, and Modern, in English, 1,000 Years. Frank has taken a lot of time to go through a millennium's worth of poetry in the latter book and translate it into English so these words are not lost and so that these words may resonate within you as well. And his life story is very, very inspirational as well. Who doesn't have some sort of immigrant experience in their background? The United States alone is a nation of immigrants. Canada, very, very similar with the trajectory there of people migrating till this very, very day. You will love these books. Frank, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
I thank you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate your time. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.
Thank you.
Thank you.